Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Bandai movie monster series Godzilla 1954. Now, this version of Godzilla comes from the 1954 film Godzilla, which is easily my favorite Godzilla movie of all time. It has a great story, great writing, a great soundtrack, special effects that aren't great for today's standards, but for back then still look great, and you know, this movie, it's dark, it's depressing, and I love it, so, yeah. Anyway, before we take a look at Godzilla himself, we'll take a quick look at the card he comes with. So, of course, we have a picture of Godzilla from the movie in front right here. Godzilla here. Another little Godzilla emblem. Godzilla 1954, and, you know, it says it there in English as well. Some more Japanese writing. On the back, we have Godzilla here. Bandai Movie Monster Series. And more legal information, or not really legal information, but just writing, and also the Bandai logo right here, so yeah. On the inside we have some Japanese writing with a silhouette of Godzilla right here, and that is pretty much it for Godzilla's card. Now we'll take a look at the painting on Godzilla, and the painting on Godzilla is not bad at all, at least for a Bandai Movie Monster Series figure. Well, at least for one, you know, a newer one I should say, because the old ones had much better paint jobs. The newer ones aren't really as good. They're not awful, I'd say, but they're definitely not great, so yeah. But the painting here is not bad at all. So of course most of the body is this grayish color, which does look nice and is actually pretty accurate. And his dorsal plates here are painted white. Unfortunately, this last one here isn't really painted, unfortunately, but the rest are, so I guess it's not the end of the world. Going to Godzilla's head, we can see that his eyes are painted white with black pupils. His teeth are painted a bonish, whitish color, like a little bit of a mix between yellow and white. And we do have a brighter shade of gray airbrushing right here. And that's pretty much it. It would have been nice if the fingernails and toenails were painted, but I'm not too upset by this because I actually do think that's accurate. I think. I could be wrong about that. I think the toenails are supposed to be, like, colored, but I think the fingernails, I do believe they just left that, like, just gray on the original suit, so I don't think it's the end of the world here, but it would have been nice if the toenails were at least painted. And that's pretty much it for the painting here. There's not a lot of painting on this figure, to be completely honest, but I feel like that works in this figure's favor, mainly because this is trying to give off that, like, black and white feel. So, I definitely do get that, like, vintage sort of feel with this figure. So, I feel like the painting on this figure, it's bare, but it honestly works for this figure. So, the painting on this figure, I'd say gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the articulation. And the articulation on this figure is pretty basic for a Bandai Movie Monster Series figure. Basically, the arms can move 360. And the legs would be able to, but unfortunately, the arms do kind of get in the way. So, there's no really moving the legs 360. You might, you know, be able to just kind of like force it, but I wouldn't do that because you could pretty badly scrape the figure like in the elbows here. So I definitely wouldn't do that. And that's pretty much it. No articulation in the head or anything like that. It's just the arms and legs. It's average for a Bandai Movie Monster Series figure. Not the end of the world, so it's fine. I'd say it gets a pass. Now I'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure, honestly, the sculpting here is perfect. I love how this figure looks. I think this is probably one of the better looking 54 figures I have, because I have both of the Bandai Creations versions, which aren't awful, but they're not great. I have the NECA, which also looks good, but not one-to-one. This, I feel like, is the closest to how he looked in Gojira. So, yeah. The overall sculpting on this figure is great, so the sculpt definitely gets a pass. Now I'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure is good. Not great, but still pretty good. So taking a look at the head here, we can see all the scales and all the creasing in the face right there looks very nice. Even a little bit of musculature, which still looks very nice, and even his ears are detailed pretty nicely. Going to the side of his body, we have more scaling, which is pretty nicely defined, and some pretty nice detailing for his arms here as well. His hands, unfortunately, aren't really the best when it comes to detailing, but it's alright. So, yeah, it could look a lot better, but it's not the worst thing ever, I guess. So, yeah, but anyway, the scaling throughout the body, again, looks nice. And even the feet are detailed pretty nicely as well. And going to the tail here, all the creasing and the scaling and everything, once again, looks great. And the dorsal plates are detailed very nicely as well. And as well as the scaling, there's also a lot of creases and folds and whatnot throughout the figure, like you can see in the front of the figure here. That kind of gives it like, you know, this is like a guy in a rubber suit and not like a legit monster, which I really like, and I think again adds to the vintage feel to this thing. So, yeah, the detailing on this figure, the hands could be better, but the rest of the detailing still looks very nice. The creasing, the scaling, everything here looks great. So honestly, I think the detailing here, I'd say gets a pass. Usually I'd give it a 3/4 of a pass, but mainly because of the arms, but the rest of the detailing here is still very nice. So the detailing on this figure gets a pass. So at the end of the day, should you get this? Honestly, yes. I think that for a Bandai Movie Monster figure, or Bandai Movie Monster series figure, sorry about that, you know, for today's standards, I think that this is one of the better figures, because back then, I actually just figured, or not really figured this out, but I just thought about this the other day. A lot of the older Bandai Movie Monster series figures are a lot better than the newer ones, mainly in the paint. Because I'm looking at my Destroyer, and then I'm looking at my original Bandai Movie Monster series Titanosaurus, and the painting on Titanosaurus looks great, while on the newer Destroyer figure, doesn't look good at all. But, you know, this is honestly a very nice figure, and if you had to get one Bandai Movie Monster series figure, I'd say get this. This is definitely not a bad figure at all. In terms of prices, you're looking at about, I'd say between 20 to 25 bucks, which honestly is not bad for what you're paying for. You could do a lot worse with that, but yeah. This is a very nice figure, and I do suggest that you get him, and if you want to know how big he is, and here he is next to Dr. Billy Grant. Alright, now that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.